Wait, hold on. No, go.
We're all still off the air. It
We're
says
good.
off air.
We're good.
We're on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, guys. So back to another Keystoneandmore episode. We have not been here in a while. March 31st was our last podcast. It is now 3 weeks later. Reason being, baseball fully in session now. I've been playing for a very long time now. But Millan getting back in the groove. That's why we're just kind of adjusting our schedules. We found a time, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Got some playoff hockey on right now. Some baseball on. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about playoff hockey. We're going to talk about the NFL schedule release that came out on Wednesday. We're going to do some game-by-game predictions for our two favorite teams, and I'll do one for the Eagles since they are the other Pennsylvania team. Very excited to do today's podcast. And what do you want to cover first, Millan?
Yeah, just before we start, we did change the format. Like, we used to go with FaceTime and screenshotting on my Mac. That wasn't working for some reason, so we decided to switch. We're using Google Hangouts on air, but it's connected to YouTube. So every night we will be broadcasting live. It's a live broadcast this time, so what you guys are watching is what you see. But I think it can also save to our YouTube feed. So if you're not here for the live broadcast, I think we'll be able to save it and we'll post it up on YouTube. We do have an Instagram link is in the description below, but let's get right to it. We have a lot to cover, Nick. Let's start off with the NHL playoffs so we can get the saddest part out of the way first.
I would say it's the best part, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You can say, because you are a Flyers fan, we can say it's the best part.
No, but also it's just playoff hockey.
That is true. That is playoff hockey is always.
The Islanders were the favorite. I picked the Islanders, but I still think that this was probably. I mean, Tampa getting swept in the first round. Whoever would have thought Columbus would win a playoff series, and then Pittsburgh getting swept by the Islanders, a big deal. And then obviously the West Coast, nothing's happened yet, but we'll see what happens out on the West Coast. I think Vegas is probably going to win their series. They're up 3-1 at the moment, but see what happens there.
Yeah, and the Pittsburgh series, that one was. I knew going into this season or going into those playoffs that we had a really inconsistent season. I mean, anyone who's been watching the Penguins or following hockey, you knew that this Pittsburgh Penguins team had a difficult season, ups and downs. At times, we lost we lost 14 straight games, and we won like 10 straight games. So we're back and forth. We dropped the series to you guys, the season series to you guys, and we had on talent. We had a lot of injuries, but at times we were also perfectly healthy, and so it was balancing those weights. So going into this playoffs, we were getting a Getty Malkin back, we're getting Brian Dumoulin back, we're getting Letang back. So that was an upside for us, and we're playing this team as the Islanders that haven't won a championship since like the 80s, I think, and they haven't. It's been 2 years since they played the playoffs. They have 2 rinks. So for me, I got cocky a little bit. I won't lie, to think that we actually have a chance at winning this series, especially with a rookie to the playoffs goalie in hand. And I'm going to be honest, we played okay, but the Islanders played so much better than us. They were able to hold Crosby to no points on the stat sheet. Same with Malkin got a goal, but they were able to shut us down for second and third rebound attempts on goal. Leonard was just amazing in net. If you watched Game 4 or Game 3, some of the second chance opportunities that we did get, we were missing wide open nets. Crosby was missing wide open nets. Chances that we could have won we could have at least won a couple games if we were able to capitalize on those opportunities. Our power play was terrible. We only scored 1 goal. And you should think that when you're up on a power play and you have Crosby, Malkin, Hornquist, Kessel, Gensel all on the same line, that you should be able to score at least in this power play, but nothing happened. And give credit to the Islanders for shutting us down. And I could see them going far in the playoffs. So if they're able to play like they did against us, watch them keep on going maybe even to the conference finals. Now that the Lightning were swept, which was a big surprise. Nick, what happened there?
So, I mean, the thing with the Lightning is you watch this team and you really think the Lightning are automatically going to win because the Lightning, they're just so dominant. They got Kucherov, Stamkos, Vasilevsky, and the thing is, those guys were all silent. Stamkos, silent. Kucherov, silent. Vasilevsky, silent. Braden Point, silent. Nobody from the Lightning showed up in this series. They haven't played meaningful hockey in 2 months, and Columbus has been playing playoff-like hockey for the last 6 weeks since the deadline when they made those big moves. Columbus knew that they made some big moves at the deadline, that they needed to capitalize. Panarin and Bobrovsky are becoming free agents come July 1st. If this team makes it to the Cup championship, there is a chance, pretty slim, I would say still probably only in the 30% chance, but there's a chance that Panarin and Bobrovsky stay in Columbus. They need to make the Cup final. They need to make at least the Eastern Conference final, though, if they want to be able to do that. I don't see that happening. I honestly think this Tampa series, there was a bit of luck involved. There was a bit of good timing involved with Tampa, again, not playing meaningful hockey in 2 months. Tampa clinched their spot on like February 13th. They knew they were going to the playoffs long before anybody else. Okay? And again, I just think that Columbus had that advantage with their guys have been waiting for this, have been fighting for this for the last 6 weeks. I mean, I think that's what it came down to, really.
Yeah, this is a team that was just like not in the sense of just like the Penguins, but you could see that the Penguins had a rocky season while the Lightning had one of the best seasons in the probably in the history of sports. That you could make an argument for that, but it shows that when you shut down your best players, that you could easily win games. And if the Islanders are able to do that, granted they play the Capitals, they're able to shut down Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, and Oshie, that they could easily move on. And depending on what happens in the Bruins and the Maple Leafs series, that they will be able. They're on their way to a Stanley Cup final run, but that's a long tail to go as of now, because we have right now the Bruins are tied in the third period with the Maple Leafs. That series tied at 2. This first round is. I don't know about you, Nick, but this season first round has gone by way too long. I feel like by now, in this time of the year, last year, we were already in the second round.
No, I feel the complete opposite. I feel like the first round's going too fast. I feel like, how did the Penguins and the Lightning both get swept? That just can't happen. How do the Flyers have as many playoff wins as the Lightning and the Penguins combined? That should not be happening. That is ridiculous. Okay, I mean, I feel like it's going by too fast. Now, there's other series that are going by, I think, the way I like it. The way I like my series are 6-7 games. I want, in the NHL, the way the NHL is set up, it's not like the NBA. The way it's set up, every series should go 6-7 games, and maybe 1 or 2 of them goes 5. There should be no sweeps in the first round. There should be no sweeps in the whole playoffs in the NHL. In the NBA, I'm expecting there to be definitely a few sweeps. The NHL, I don't expect it. The NHL, I expect competitiveness. There are 16 teams that can raise the cup in the NHL. In the NBA, there's maybe 4 teams, 3 teams that can raise a trophy. NHL is not like that. That I've seen 2 sweeps is a disappointment to me. It's less playoff hockey. The more playoff hockey to get, the better. The more I get, the better. I love the NHL. I love playoff hockey. And besides March Madness, really, I think March Madness is the only thing that even holds up to it. Besides March Madness, there's nothing like it. There honestly isn't. I love playoff hockey. And I'm really interested, honestly, to see this Washington-Carolina series. I don't know if you've been watching it, but I've watched all 4 games. And home ice is really making a big difference in that series, figuratively and literally. Carolina's ice is complete shit. Sorry to curse, but it is. It's terrible. It is one of the worst ices. I curse all the time in here, but now we're live, so it's totally different. But it's one of the worst pieces of ice I've ever seen in my life. It's just melting. It's just like, what is this? It's like, oh, it's 90 degrees outside. Maybe you shouldn't have playoff hockey. Maybe you shouldn't have hockey in Carolina. I don't know. Just saying. Maybe they should still be in Hartford. But yeah, it's ridiculous that the ice there is just so bad. I honestly think the Capitals lost yesterday because of ice. The Capitals play a game that's all about breakaways and one-timers. The Capitals got screwed yesterday because you can't do breakaways and one-timers on that terrible ice that was at the PNC Arena yesterday. Game 3 was bad, but Game 4 was terrible. The puck's just like hopping around. It's like an outdoor game almost with the ice. And we've seen some terrible ice quality in these outdoor games. And that's what it's like. But it might be even worse than that. I mean, it's really a disappointment, but I really don't want that to be what decides this series. And then the Toronto-Boston series also looks very good. I haven't been paying too much attention out west. I know St. Louis is just destroying Winnipeg, which saddens me. I also know that Nashville-Dallas series, I'm pretty sure it's pretty – I honestly haven't been paying that much attention. I hate the break. I only really pay attention to that St. Louis-Winnipeg series out west That's my own fault, but I honestly don't feel like staying up at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night to watch Calgary win by 5 goals against Colorado, but just my opinion.
Yeah, I think Colorado, Calgary, Pittsburgh series, Columbus series are all pretty bad series as it's been a blowout. St. Louis has been it's 3-2 right now in favor of St. Louis, and it's kind of been a blowout. Just in the games that's happened and the results, but I think the best series that we've seen right now: Vegas, San Jose, Dallas, Nashville. They've been pretty even series on the West, and then Carolina, Washington. That's home ice advantage. So we'll see what happens come Game 5 if one of these teams can win on the road. That's what it's going to have to come down to, because if Carolina wants to win and they go to Game 7, you're going to have to win. As of now, Carolina is going to have to win 2 games on the road if they want to. If they're pushing the series to 7, so they have to win at least 1 game on the road if they want to win and move on to the next stage of the playoffs. Boston, Toronto, I haven't really followed Boston as much.
I've been following it, but like I should be following it more. I've been really interested in the Metropolitan series though.
Yeah, Boston. I mean, those has been pretty healthy. I do think Toronto, Boston. I think now, in my opinion, I think Boston's going to win that win 2 nights ago in Toronto. Is going to fuel them to a win tonight in Boston, and then they'll fuel them again back in Toronto in Game 6. Vegas and San Jose. I think Vegas is going to finish up that series tomorrow with a win. I know they lost their first game at San Jose. And then won the second game set at San Jose, and then winning the third and the fourth game in Vegas, and losing the Game 5 in San Jose. So I think going back to Vegas is going to be a big struggle for San Jose, as they found they can't win in Vegas. But this is something that you could argue, Nick. I don't know if you don't really see this when you watch playoff hockey on TV. You'd have to experience this, but you could also see a lot of YouTube videos on this. If I don't know, Nick, if you've seen the intros to the Vegas Golden Knights series, to the Vegas Golden Knights playoff games, but it's pretty cool, and it's arguably one of the best in hockey.
Oh yeah, I mean, I the theatrical thing, and I saw it last year. Really, I haven't really seen it this year much, but the theatrical performance they put on before these games in Vegas, it's just so Vegas. No one else could do it, because Vegas is all about that. That's like what Vegas is about. The theaters and the casinos. That's Vegas. And that's why I love the Golden Knights do it, because it's so Vegas. Like, if someone else had done that before, the Golden Knights would have been like, what is this? But then when Vegas does it, like, oh, that's awesome, because it's Vegas. It's just that basic, but I love it. Yeah, I agree. It's one of the best. It's up there in hockey traditions. Mm-hmm. There's not much better. The Octopus is in Detroit is one of the few things that is better than it, but it's up there. It's amazing. I love it.
And you could arguably have said that that's probably one of the reasons why they went so far in the playoffs, because you get that on your side, you get the crowd riled up, you score 1 goal, and I personally haven't been to a playoff hockey game. I haven't even been to an NHL game, but I personally, if you were there at a Vegas game and they score that first goal, you seeing it on TV, they explode. The fans explode, and this is the second year, so imagine what it's like in the first year of their existence. And they explode. So I can only imagine what it's like in Vegas. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Seattle next year, or whenever they come back.
It's 2 years from now, because
2020, yeah.
Because next year there was a chance of a lockout. But
yeah,
I am very excited because what Carolina and Vegas are doing. Carolina with their whole post game thing, which is
okay. The post game thing. What is your opinion on that? Because I've watched. I don't know if you guys have watched SportsCenter or if you watch PTI or all that's around the horn. Everyone hates it. All this analysis, everyone hates it. They think it's unprofessional. What is your opinion on this?
So, like, I like it to an extent, to a very much extent. Okay, a lot of people do not like it. Most people that are in the sports writing, like most people that are professional sports writers, but a lot of people on YouTube. A lot of people on Twitter that aren't necessarily professional sports writers, but they are very intellectual sports writers. Do like it. So it's honestly a generational thing. It's the younger generation's way of celebrating. It's just like the bat flips. It's very similar to the bat flips actually, which we're going to talk about later, because I have some opinions on the Tim Anderson bat flip and suspension. But here's the thing. I like it to an extent. When they're doing stuff like basketball on the ice, I hate it. What is that? Why are you playing basketball on the ice? I don't like that at all. But, like, if they're just, when they do, like, at the beginning of the year, they're just doing what everybody does. What a lot of teams, not everybody, a lot of teams do. which is the sticks and the mascot with the flag. I'm fine with that. I like that. I respect that. It's fine. Celebrating a win. Then they got a little overboard. They're starting to do shit like duck, duck, goose.
Yeah.
What are you doing duck, duck, goose for? It's hockey, guys. Like, and then they're doing basketball. Basketball is what just take me over. Okay, it really did. That's what pushed me over the edge. The basketball, but I don't know. I like it to an extent. I like it when they just did like at the beginning of the year when they were just doing, the traditional raise your sticks up, the mascot comes out the flag. But now I'm kind of like,
Yeah, I personally, I think it's fine. Obviously, the basketball is a little bit too much when you start playing and doing things other than your sport that you're playing. But yeah, getting the crowd into it, that's all what you want, especially for a team that really hasn't done much in the playoffs or the regular season for a very long time. So with getting that and they have a chance at the cup, I personally think it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just have to stay in the realm of what's relevant and what's like appropriate. And I know this is a lot of people don't like it just because it hasn't been done before, but times have been changing and you got to change with the times. Young players have new ideas, new things they want to try out. And I like it. I think it's pretty cool, a way to get the crowd into it. And if it helps and it could help the PNC arena to get more guys come, because I know they were struggling.
Their attendance. Their attendance is like skyrocketed since the beginning of the year. And I think that's also because of team success. But this wouldn't have happened. This whole celebration thing doesn't happen without team success. And on Twitter recently, I'm in hockey debates a lot. I'm in a lot of hockey debates, mostly with Flyers fans. But yesterday, I actually got into a debate with a Hurricanes fan. That's never happened before. I've never gotten into a debate with a Hurricanes fan before because there's not that many of them. And I easily won because he's a Hurricanes fan. I mean, how much more to say? There shouldn't be hockey in Carolina, but whatever. So yeah, I mean, I kind of think, I don't know, coming from a city where the attendance never dips too low, like that drastically, we have to move low. It's a little annoying when stuff like this happens and we're kind of experiencing with the Phillies, but the Phillies never drastically went that far down. The Phillies never went further down than 19,000 a game. The Hurricanes were at one point like 4,000 a game, on the brink of moving. Same's happened in Pittsburgh with the Penguins. They were on the brink of moving to Kansas City also. A lot of teams have been on the brink of moving. Florida, obviously. Arizona should have already moved. But it just annoys me when like this type of stuff happens and like they just randomly acquire 15,000 fans. It's like, oh, yeah, now you guys made the first round of the playoffs. Now you guys have 15,000 new fans. It annoys me to an extent, but it's just how sports work. It's just not the same in areas not named Philadelphia, Boston, and New York. But it was what it is.
Yeah, and just while we're talking about playoff hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs scored. Austin Matthews scored with 9 minutes left to go in the third. 9:33 left to go in the third as they are winning 1-0 against Boston in TD Garden. So would be a huge win if they get the win there, as they'll take the game. If they would continue to take that series 3-2 as they head back to Toronto. Every time I talk, my face comes up on the screen. And I feel like I always think that you're leaving. You left the whole thing. It's just what I'm used to. But anyways, that's a lot for playoff hockey right now. We're gonna move on to the MLB. We have a lot to talk about there. It's very early still, but
not that early. We've got
It's early in the sense where it's like still the first month, but we've also had a couple weeks under our belt. A lot of surprise. Yeah, enough to analyze baseball, and I followed. This is some reason. Sorry, this is the year I follow. I've been following baseball a lot more closely. It's probably because I know the Penguins didn't have any hope, but I've been following baseball a lot more closely now, and a lot of surprises. You could argue, as Boston has not looked good. 3-6, they're not even over 500. 6-13. Yankees.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but there's something weird going on in Boston. I don't really know what it is, but there is something going on. I don't understand.
I think for me, I've been researching this because this is a team that when you watch their season last year, they were like the Tampa Bay Lightnings, but a successful version of the playoffs of the Tampa Bay Lightning last year. One of the reasons why they did win the World Series. Oh my God, I almost said Super Bowl. One of the reasons why they won the World Series is they have Chris Sale, and he's always been amazing. We know that. But that's all they have. we know full well David Price can't pitch the postseason. Rick Porcello hasn't been his Rick Porcello in the past, and Evaldi, he needed to prove something in the playoffs. All of them stepped up. They were able to effectively get outs. They pitched great in all aspects of the game. That was the reason why they were able to win the World Series. This year, that's not the case. Sale has an 8.65 ERA. He's like 0-4. He's done terrible. They have the hitting. It's the pitching and it's the bullpen. None of them have shown up. They've been giving up runs after runs after runs, and to the point where this offense cannot keep up with the amount of pitching. And you making a team look bad. Your team looks bad because you have your rival, the New York Yankees, who are 8-10 in second place, only 5 games out is probably the most injury-riddled team you could ever look. If you look at their team, you should think that they should be in last place because of all the injuries. They have Severino, who's going to be out for a couple more weeks. Probably won't be back till the mid-May. Sabathia just got back. Stanton is coming back. I think just got back. You have who else we have? We have Didi injured. We have Tulo injured. Ellsbury injured, but he's not really relevant. So we have and Sanchez was injured for a long time, for a little bit. So all these injuries, and we have Betances, and that's one of the like their setup reliever, if not closer. And Chapman was injured for a little bit of time. So a lot of injuries, but they were still able to find ways to win. So that was something that's very interesting for me. Seattle set a record of consecutive home runs in the season. That's probably that's the biggest surprise for me. As if you looked at their offseason, they literally what you want to do in your offseason is get good players. They literally got rid of all their best players, and Paxton and all these different players. They got rid of them, and so you would think that they would suck. But they started the season like 14-2, and they're only like or not even 14, maybe 12, 10-2, 11-2. They're 14-8 right now. They're tied with Houston in first place. Cleveland, well, that's a division where we know Cleveland's going to win that. Tampa Bay is doing pretty well for 14-5. Los Angeles is hanging in there as San Diego is right behind them. Philadelphia is leading this division, the East, 11-7 with the Mets behind them. DeGrom has been pitching pretty well, but he did get injured early today. He's on his way back to New York for an MRI. Hopefully, it won't be anything bad.
Hopefully, it will.
He injured his elbow. Hopefully, he'll probably return soon. He hurt it in mild soreness at the 16th 3 days ago. And then Washington hasn't been so well without Harper. Miami's has been a dumpster fire. This is the thing also too that I saw that was actually really interesting. Boston's run differential is only 3 better than the Miami Marlins. And we know full well that the Miami Marlins haven't even made a chance, haven't even looked like they wanted to compete in the postseason or to win a division. So that's pretty disturbing if you're a Red Sox fan, that your run differential is only 3 times better, or 3 points better than the Miami Marlins. And then Pittsburgh is tied with their division 10-6 with Milwaukee. They've been looking pretty well. I'm going to talk about the Pirates, and then you'll talk about the Phillies. What I've seen from the Pirates is a great rotation. Jordan Lyles has I think a 0 ERA as of right now, but that's probably going to change depending on the outcome of this game against the Giants. Who else? Jameson Tyler, a pretty rocky start in the first game of the season against Cincinnati, but he's calmed down. Nick, you left. I don't know why. But I'm going to talk about the Pirates. Oh, Nick, you back. Okay. So anyways, where'd you go?
I was looking to check the standings for a second.
Yeah, Okay, that's fine.
I know I didn't know you couldn't do that.
Yeah. And then we had Jordan Lyles been pretty consistent. Trevor Williams has been really well. I think he has an under 1 point ERA, which has been pretty good for the Pirates. It's their bullpen that hasn't been. I don't even know what to think about their bullpen. As I'm trying to look at the rotation, sorry. But so yeah, their bullpen. We've gotten leads in the season in the games, and our bullpen has given up. Kella has given up at least, I want to say at least 7 games that we've had the lead. He's given up the lead. Crick has been pretty well. He's been injured. Lariano has been fine. Kingham moved from rotation to the bullpen. He's been okay. Rodriguez has been pretty fine, but we all have those. We've all had the those guys that hasn't been looked good. Rotation, we have Tyon, who's been pitched pretty well. Chris Archer has been pitching really, really well, and everyone says that was a mistake to get Chris Archer. And I think now with a real catcher in Francisco Cervelli, they've gotten to know each other a lot better. This offseason, that's all they were bonding together to get ready for the season, and you could see it's paid off. He's done well, really well. It's his first outing at the Cardinals. They did lose that game because of the bullpen, but he had like 10 strikeouts. He's had over 7 strikeouts every single time he's been up on the plate, up on the mound. Trevor Williams again had, I think, at least a 1 ERA. He's been pitching pretty fine, keeping the ball low, which is good. Low fastball, low changeup. Gets a lot of strikeouts. Joe Musgrove, he's your average pitcher. He has getting outs, not a lot of strikeouts, but he's a ground ball pitcher, so good for double play ball. And Jordan Lyles has been really well. Again, 0 ERA, depending on how this game goes. And he was a guy that he had to prove himself. New to a rotation job, new to a starting job. He came up and down from the minors last year, and he's proven himself good. Elias Diaz is injured, so Jacob Stalling backs up Francisco Cervelli. Jung-Ho Kang has been amazing. He's hit a lot of early home runs, and my PED is fear for him is still on the rise. I don't think he will get tested, but if he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back positive. Colin Moran has been the hero for the past 3 days, as we've all gone to the 10th inning, and he has scored the winning run in the 10th inning against the Tigers. Shortstops have been new with Gonzalez and Reyes. Frazier's been fine. Bell and Moran have both split. Melky Cabrera has done very good work in right field for an injured Polanco. He's down in Florida right now with the Marauders, getting back in the swing of things with his right knee injury. So he should be back within the next couple of weeks, depending how his spring training games go. Hopefully he'll be well. Marte's been his average. Marte in left field. Shuck Martin, Reyes, and Moran. So that Captain Redbeard has been playing all over the place. So yeah, we have Kevin Newman just got on the 10-day DL. Elias Diaz officially was on the 10-day DL. So he was been out and now he's on the 10-day DL. Archer is suspended 5 games. That's something I do want to talk about. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, against the Cincinnati Reds a couple weeks ago, Durichich hit a home run off of Archer, stayed in the batter's box, looked at the ball until it crossed the fence as a home run, and then he started jogging, which I can get the bat flips. I'm fine with that because that's new. It's something new. But nowadays, you don't stare at the ball. You can bat flip and start running. Don't stare at the ball. That's something you would do back in the 70s, stare at the ball. But this is something that's unprofessional. And this looks unprofessional now. So basically, Chris Archer said,
I totally disagree with that statement.
As a pitcher, I find with the bat flips is staring at it in the batter's box, not moving.
Yeah, okay. Here's what I would recommend if you're a pitcher. How about don't give up a 450-foot bomb?
It's going to happen, though. You're going to make mistake pitches, and yeah, good hitters are going to capitalize on it.
Exactly. So don't let them. Like, here's the thing: if he hits a home run off you, he's gonna get. He has the right to celebrate, and he wasn't even celebrating. He was just admiring it. Everybody in that. Okay, think of it like this: it's Pittsburgh, so there might have been. So out of the 9 people in the stands, because it's Pittsburgh, it was a day game. So out of the 9 people in the stands, I bet all 9 of them were admiring it. Everybody in the dugout was admiring it. Derek Dietrich has every right to admire that ball. It went into the river. Okay.
No, I think it went. It was almost out of the park. It stayed in the park, but it was not in the river.
It doesn't matter. It's a fucking moonshot. And Chris Archer's like, yeah, man. I'm like one of the top 5 pitchers in the league, man. Pirates gave up their number 1 prospect for me, man. And then he's letting up bombs there, dude. Absolutely, I totally agree with Derek Dietrich on that. I totally agree with anybody that allows that. You should that's way less offensive than a bat flip.
I like bat flips. I think it's okay, so here's the thing. I'm fine if you admire it, but you have to be on your way to first base. I think it's disrespectful if you're in the batter's box and not moved, and you haven't even put down your bat. I think that's where it's a bit disrespectful. But that's not the point. The point here is a lot of Pirates fans have been arguing that he got suspended and he probably shouldn't have. No, he should have gotten suspended. One thing I do wish that Archer would have done is you know you're gonna get suspended if you did that. Should have hit him. It would have been the same amount of suspensions. He did get more games suspended than Puig, and Puig threw punches. But to that doesn't make a difference because Puig got 2 games. That's fine. Archer got 5 games, but it's not 5 starts. It's only 5 games. So he only missed 1 regular season start or 1 regular start. So that was fine. It didn't really make much of a difference. But as of right now, the Pirates are hanging in there in first place. But that probably is going to change depending. Well, let's hope not. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. By June, we'll have a good sense of who is playoff contender, who's not. Nick, Phillies have been pretty good. As of a pretty hot start for you with Bryce Harper. Tell us a little bit more about the Phillies.
Okay, so I've been to 2 games, and the atmosphere down there is amazing. Okay, I was there this past Wednesday. It was a day game. Okay, it was a day game, and it was practically a sold-out crowd. Every seat in the lower bowl was taken. Every seat in the first section, in the bottom, the lowest section of the outfield taken. There was only a few seats. There was a few seats. There was like a few sections that were just not that were barely filled in the 300s. But every section, the 1 and 200s, was filled in Citizens Bank Park on Wednesday, a day game. I get it's the Mets, but it's still a day game. It's a 105 game. And but there's one problem with this team. And it's that in 9 of their 18 games, they have either scored or allowed 10 or 9, double digits. Either scored or allowed. They have scored as high as 14 runs. They have allowed as high as 15 runs. Do you see the problem with that? I do. Here's why. So take, for example, this past Tuesday when they played the Mets. They won 14-3. So, yes, they scored 14 runs. That's great. But they didn't need to score 14 runs. They used all that offense. And then look at this. They only allowed 3 runs on Tuesday. But if they'd only allowed 3 runs that past Wednesday, still would have lost, but they wouldn't have lost 15-1. Okay? Or they wouldn't have lost 11-6 the day before. Lost another game there, 10-8. Won a game 10-4 on opening day, obviously. But there's just been way too many games. Won a game 11-1. Next day they lose a game 12-3. So it's like one day they're high on offense, the next day they're low on pitching. High on offense, low on pitching. High on offense, low on pitching. High on offense, low on pitching. Okay, that's a problem. They don't have the pitch. They don't have the pitching to only be scoring 1-2 runs a game. Thankfully, they've only scored 1 or 2 runs a game twice this year in 18 games. It's amazing. They're probably averaging 6-7 runs a game. They're insane, their offense. Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura, Maikel Franco playing amazing. Reese Hoskins, Bryce Harper. Cesar Hernandez having a decent year because he's not being pressured. Odubel Herrera having a solid year because he's not being pressured. JT Realmuto, how did I almost forget? He's on my cup right now. The momentum, the atmosphere is high here in Philly. The team is playing good, but the season is young. Okay, they just lost 6-2 last night at Coors Field. They're winning right now in the bottom of the third, 1-0, but it's early. They got the Mets. They're going up to Citi Field for a midweek set. Marlins come to town for the weekend set. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think the biggest picture for you guys, you have the hitting. You have Realmuto, you have Franco, you have McCutchen, you have Harper that no one knows about. Just kidding. You have Hoskins, Franco, Hernandez, Segura. So you have hitting. You scoring 15 runs. Okay, not really surprised with the hitting you have. It's the pitching that's going. If you're going to make a postseason run, it's going to be your rotation. Same thing with
this. I mean, this is old.
I think it's the same. Yeah, it's going to be the same questions. You're going to have to fill the same questions as the Red Sox did last year. You have Nola. Arrieta has been.
But before we go, we have obviously Nola. Nola's had not a great start to the year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So I mean, that's not a good sign. He's got a game. He's playing. I believe he's starting tonight. He's actually playing pretty good. He's got great career numbers at Coors Field, which is a complete shock. But last time he pitched there, he pitched 8 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. So that's actually really impressive for Coors Field. And honestly, 8 innings, 2 runs is not bad for any place, especially if that was at Citizens Bank Park, another hitter's ballpark. But so Aaron Nola's not having a great start, which is bad. But Arrieta is really shocking. Arrieta was supposed to be just what he was last year. Maybe a 3.3, 3.4 ERA, nothing shocking. He's had a really nice start, though. He's had a really good start to the year. He pitched on Wednesday, and he only allowed 2 runs, pitched 8 innings. And, hey, he started that Sunday night game back with Atlanta, or the last time we did a podcast. They won that game 5-1. So he's actually had a really good start. Pivetta, supposed to have a breakout year. He's already been optioned back down to Lehigh Valley. So that's never a good sign. He's having a rough start to the year. But they brought up Jared Eichhoff. Jared Eichhoff pitched a really good 3 innings on Tuesday, but they were up by 11 runs. So does it even mean anything? Not really. You're up by 11 runs. You can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. You can just throw right down the middle fastballs the whole time. Who cares? You're up by 11 runs. But, so yeah, I mean, the team is – the offense is amazing. But if the offense has a bad night, they'll lose the game by 5-6 runs. But yeah, I'm excited for the season nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, we got some big series coming up. At the Mets, home versus the Marlins, home versus the Tigers, home versus the Nationals. We're home for a bit here. We've been home a lot recently, which means we're going to play a lot of road games come August, September, which I don't really like. But anyway.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at pitching stats for this season. Yeah, so as of right now, I apologize. I misread. Joe Musgrove has the lowest ERA in MLB. He has a .81. Obviously, it's early, but still looking good. We have Archer with a 2 ERA, and Williams with a 2.5. So it's young, especially for the early stages. And the pitcher surprised me this year is all right, cool. Nice. Okay. Anyway, so a pitcher that surprised me is Jeff Samardzija. He's a 2.91, which is not. If any good pitcher would say, hey, that's not really what I want. But for him to have like a 5 ERA last year, he had no control of his he throws hard. He throws mid up to upper 90s with a good slider and devastating curveball and changeup. And with he had no control. He threw hard, but he led the league in walks, I think, last year, and no control, didn't do well, let up a lot of runs. But now he found that control. I've seen him pitch at least 2 times this year. He can hit his spots. He works the count. He knows what he's doing on 3-2s. He has good planning. He doesn't just throw himself in there. So that's good to see him do a lot better. Morton, 2.18. Stroman doing pretty well. Tyler Glasnow, 1.13 for coming from the Pirates, who had like a 7 when he was within the first month last year. He was like actually even 10 ERA last year in the first month. But that's what we're gonna we exhausted probably that the MLB. We have more stuff to cover when we have we'll do some ranking videos as we keep on making videos. We had a lot of good ideas. But that covers the MLB. Quickly before we move on to the NHL, I quickly saw that the Bruins were losing 2-1. Yeah, NFL. Sorry, the Bruins were losing 2-1 with like 40 seconds left to go in the third period. And I'm just trying to see if so the Maple Leafs did hang on to win 2-1 as they take game 5. They took game 5 as they head off to Toronto for Sunday's game. So that'll be game 6 in Toronto at 3:00 in the afternoon. So that'll be cool. For you basketball fans that like playoff basketball, which has been really boring to watch for me because people are scoring like 125 points, no defense, 149. I personally don't like watching that. But yeah, Boston's losing 59-61 as they lead the series 2-0. Trailblazers and Thunder just started off as the Portland leads that series 2-0. Raptors beat the Magic as they lead that series 2-1. I think you guys played yesterday.
It's 2-1.
2-1. You guys won yesterday, 131-115. Warriors hung on the win in LA. They're leading the series 2-1, and the Spurs beat the Nuggets. San Antonio is leading that series 2-1. There's more series that I am looking at, like the Bucks and the Pistons. Bucks are winning that series 2-0, and Rockets are leading the Jazz in the series 2-0 as well.
I love how this one guy just keeps typing in our thing. There's only one guy watching.
And so that's enough for the basketball. Moving on to the NFL schedule. The season schedule opened up. It's going to be a very interesting schedule. Nick, we're going to go through, first we'll go through our individual teams, respective teams, and then we'll go through.
Do you want me to cover the Eagles as my team? I can do that.
Because what we're going to do is you'll cover the Packers, I'll cover the Steelers, because you like the Packers, I like the Steelers, and then we'll go through all the games of who we think we'll go week by week of every single game, and then we'll cover that there. Preseason doesn't really matter. Nick, do you want to start off, or do you want me to go?
I'll go first. So I'm gonna cover. I'm actually gonna cover the Packers and the Eagles because this is the Pennsylvania channel. I gotta cover the Eagles. I gotta make sure it's Pennsylvania. But let's just start with the Packers right off the bat. So for September for the Packers, they're going down to the Bears Thursday Night Football Week 1 to kick off the 100th season in the NFL. They're gonna come back home. They got 3 games at home. In my opinion, 3 winnable games. Vikings in Week 2, so 2 straight NFC North games to start the year. Then we host the Broncos.
And that's really crucial, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. That's 2 NFC North games. One divisional game is very crucial. But 2 division games back to back, that is one of the most crucial things you'll ever have in the NFL, especially since you only have 17 weeks.
Yeah, agree. And then they have the Eagles to town on Thursday night. So the divisional games, in my opinion, are super hard to predict. And I think Week 1 is going to be really tough, given the new coaching staff in Green Bay, the new defensive staff in Chicago. Meanwhile, the Vikings and the Packers actually have a 2-2-2 record in their last 6 games at Lambeau. So I think both those games are pretty much those games are toss-ups for me. So I'm going to go 1-1 after 2 weeks. And then the Broncos come to Green Bay in Week 3, which I think is going to be a pretty tough game for them. Denver's offense behind Joe Flacco does not scare me at all. I'm going to go with the Packers winning that one. And then finally, the fact that the Packers play at home in Week 3 prior to playing another home game on Thursday night is very big. Philly's going to have to travel in the short week. The Packers are going to make comfortable at home for 2 weeks now. I'm giving Green Bay the win there to make the Packers have a 3-1 record. And then it's a Sunday afternoon visit down to Dallas. Aaron Rodgers has never lost a game in Jerry's world. And that's going to follow with 2 more home games against Detroit and Oakland. And then they head south to play the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Interestingly, Rodgers' other teams have not only won every time that they've played at Jerry's world, they've scored 30 points each time. That low mark coming in the nice Super Bowl win over the Steelers. The last 2 wins, though, have been nail-biters. The one in January 2017, the 34-31 playoff win, and then last year they won 35-31. Both of the so I'm going to go with I'm going to see them losing in Dallas, but then both home games look winnable. Detroit's victory at Lambeau in Week 17 last year came with Rodgers on the sideline, a Packers team that didn't care, and the Raiders, meanwhile, should be not. They're going to be terrible, I think, again. So I'm going to make the Packers 5-2, but then they go to Green Bay, or they go to Kansas City, which is what I think probably the biggest test of the year for them, particularly for the Packers defense. Given the Chiefs' issue on defense last year, though, this could be a shootout. We could see scores in the 40s and 50s with Rodgers and Mahomes. The Packers upset is impossible, but it is tough to reject that without the draft and everything. So I'm going to go with us being 5-3 now. And then after that game in Kansas City, a tough road week for the Packers. They head to California for their longest road trip of the year. The Chargers, they look pretty good. Very good on both sides of the football. And that's a tough draw after that primetime game in Kansas City. However, the Packers then get a home game against Carolina before a late bye in Week 11. Gives them plenty of time to rest up and prepare for another West Coast trip. The Chargers game is a dangerous one, given the travel and the opponent. I'm going to see that. I'm going to say them losing that one. Following that, however, I see a very exciting team. I think they're going to be very motivated to win this game at home versus Carolina. And then Jimmy Garoppolo and Jerick McKinnon back. San Francisco, they're going to be really improved, but I like the Packers 7-4. And then they got 5 games in December. 3 of them on the road, though. So that really minimizes our home field advantage, which we have in the cold weather. And then one of them is against the Bears. So they're built for that. First, however, is the game I'm going to be going to. The Packers are going to be flying all the way across the country to New Jersey against the Giants. Yeah, I'm going to that one in East Rutherford. But will the Giants have a new quarterback by then? We don't know that. But I'm going to go with them winning that game. And then an Alex Smith-less Washington team comes to Lambeau in Week 14, which I'll have them winning, followed by the Bears rematch, and then closing it out with road dates at Minnesota and Detroit. I'll have them losing I'm losing against the Bears and beating Minnesota and Detroit. I'm going 10-6, okay? I honestly wish I could say that they would beat all 3, Detroit, Chicago, and Minnesota end the year, but I have a feeling there's going to be a letdown. I actually feel better about the Green Bay's chance of beating the Bears at Soldier Field in Week 1 than I do about that Week 15 game, because Chicago is going to have a tougher time preparing for the Rodgers offense, the LaFleur Rodgers offense with no tape. After 13 games, there's going to be a lot more to work on, so Chicago's going to be better prepared. Meanwhile, the Packers have never won at Minnesota's new stadium, so I'm not confident in winning them. I think a 10-6 record would be enough to get the Packers in the playoffs, but that's whether or not who wins the division. It's going to be Chicago or Minnesota. But anyway, they got 5 of the first 7 games at home. No more than 100 miles away in the first month. That's a strong start for the Packers. However, the beginning of the schedule and the end of the schedule will be very critical in determining whether they can win this division. They have back-to-back division games to start the year, starting with the Bears on the road, then come home to play the Vikings. They close the year back-to-back to 3 straight divisional games in the final 3 weeks. Those periods are going to be determining factors in the division race, particularly that final stretch. Getting wins in the division early really helps you ease off the pressure late in the year. But regardless, the Packers are going to need to win 2 of their final 3 games to have a shot at division title. And I think they're 10-6. Do you think it's realistic?
You want me to go with the Steelers, or do you want to finish up with the Eagles?
Well, do the Eagles play the Eagles?
Well, you have to, and then I'll go Steelers.
Let's look at their schedule. And then I will get that for Okay, Eagles. Okay, so Eagles. So first game of the year for the Eagles is at home versus Washington. Case Keenum's the quarterback, and last time Case Keenum played the Eagles, 38-7. So I think the Eagles are going to win that game. They're going to start the year off 1-0. Then they go to Atlanta. They're actually 3-0 against Atlanta, I believe, in their last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. All of those games with the link, though. The Eagles, I don't remember the last time the Eagles won in Atlanta. But I think this is going to be a game that comes down the wire. I like the Eagles' chances, though, because I've seen this defense play really good on Julio Jones in the past, and Matt Ryan really isn't that scary, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with the Eagles starting the year 2-0 with a home date versus Detroit. The last time the Eagles played a Matt Patricia defense, they dropped 41 points on them. And this is the first time the Lions have been in Philly since, I believe, 2013. I believe that was the snowball game. There was a big storm here, about 7-8 inches of snow on the ground. But 3-0. And then we got them going to Green Bay. I already said the Packers were going to win this game. The Packers are going to be so much more dangerous, and it's hard to go against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. This could honestly be like this Packers game. I think could be like the Eagles' 2018 Saints game. You know, that one of these gets destroyed. Then they're home versus the Jets. I've never seen the Eagles lose to the Jets. I'm not going to bet on them losing to the Jets now. Sam Darnold, he was very inconsistent last year. But I think they're going to be a bit better this year. Obviously, adding Le'Veon Bell. Robbie Anderson, who used to be an Eagle, could also give them some troubles. But I think they're going to win this game. Then they go to Minnesota. I honestly think they can win in Minnesota, too. This is the Eagles' first trip to Minnesota since winning the Super Bowl. You know, the game after they beat the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. Big hostile crowd, but Nick Cousins is 3-24 all time against teams that finished the previous year with 9+ wins. So, yeah. Then at Dallas, I think they lose. I would actually love to see the Eagles sweep the Dallas. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I hate Dallas. But I saw Dallas defense give Philly some troubles last year. The Eagles do better against the Cowboys in Dallas than they do in Philly. But and the Eagles and Cowboys will split their games, and I think Dallas will win at home. Then they go to Buffalo. I think they're going to lose. Third straight road game. Buffalo isn't an easy place to play. The Bills have a good defense. The Bills' offense is good, but Josh Allen's going to give them some trouble. Sean McDermott's going to have his guys juiced up. So Eagles are going to drop 2 in a row. They're going to be 5-3, going home versus Chicago. The Bears are going to be hungry. The feeling here is that they won't get it. Chicago's worse off. They lost one of their best defensive coordinators in the league. But Mitch Trubisky isn't scary. 6-3. Got a bye week. Then they play home against New England. The Super Bowl 52 rematch. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year. 425.
In England?
Yeah. No, it's home. It's in Philly.
It's in Philly? Oh.
Yeah. What?
That's going to be a rough game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, though. Doug Peterson, we already know Doug Peterson can outcoach Bill Belichick, but can Carson Wentz outduel Tom Brady? The Pats enter this game with a rest advantage, as do the Eagles. They'll downplay wanting revenge, but they'll want it. Unfortunately, I'm picking the Patriots. I just have to. Home against Seattle, I think they're going to lose this game. Russell Wilson has completed 70% of his attempts for 802 yards, 9 touchdowns, no picks, and a 105.9 pass rating in 4 career games with the Eagles. I don't know. Maybe he'll be worse at the link, but Eagles lose 6-5. Then they go to Miami. They're winning. They're winning that game. They're going 7-5. Facing Ryan Fitzpatrick makes me nervous because I remember week 2. Last year. The Dolphins, they're not very good, and they're tanking for a good pick. So 7-5. Then home against the Giants, 8-5. The stat that perfectly sums up the Eagles' last dominance over the Giants. Donovan McNabb has as many wins in the last 22 Philly versus New York games as Eli Manning. I don't know why anyone would take Eli Manning to beat the Eagles, but I'm going with the Eagles, 8-5. At the Skins, they're going to win this one. Again, I think Washington will be good. They got some solid pieces. They're much worse coaches than Jay Gruden, but I cannot pick Keenum to beat the Eagles if the Eagles once again invade Washington. 9-5, home versus Dallas, they win. For some reason, the Eagles don't play well against the Cowboys at home ever since 2008. Dallas is 9-1 at the Link since then. In fairness, 2 of those Cowboys wins a Week 17 game with the Eagles resting their starters. But again, I think they'll win this one. And then after the Giants finish the year, I think they'll win. This game could be meaningless if they already have their playoff position locked up. If they need to win this game, though, they'll certainly find a way to win. So yeah, that's what I think. I think that their floor is probably 9-7. Their ceiling's probably 12-4. I think Carson has to stay healthy because you're gonna have Nate Sudfeld instead of Nick Foles. But I think Wentz is poised for a bounce back year. We all saw how special he was after having that full offseason to prepare last year. Aside from Wentz, he was still one of the best head coaches in the league. So yeah. I mean, there hasn't been a report. Yeah,
all right, so I'm gonna go with the Steelers here. You could argue that we have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, which we have a pretty hard schedule. And for a team that lost their 2 best players, arguably, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very different season that we will have. Now we don't have the best wide receiver and the best running back in the game. Well, arguably the best running back in the game. Preseason, pretty boring. We're home to the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, and at the Titans and the Panthers. Preseason doesn't really matter, but let's get started with it. I'm happy that we have our opening game I'm happy that we play who we play. We're opening up in Foxborough, primetime, 8:20 on NBC against the defending champs, New England Patriots.
I'm happy because you can go.
Only because I can go, not because of the team we're playing. I would love to say that we would win this game. I really wish I could, but anyone who's seen the Steelers, we have never played well in our first game of the season. We've always been rusty. Big Ben has always thrown 2 or more picks in the game and at least 1 touchdown or less in opening games. We tied the Browns last year, and that was embarrassing. So to think that we could go to Foxborough and win will be a tough task. Personally, do I see it happening? I do not, especially with no Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. So I see them losing their first game in Foxborough. But the next week, home 1:00 against the Seattle Seahawks, home opener. Never mind. So yeah, Seattle did beat Pittsburgh 4 years ago in Seattle. Back when Russell Wilson was good, but now he still is. But now the Seahawks have declined rapidly with their amount of players that they've had. I see the Steelers getting a win as their home opener. I think they're good enough to win. Steelers 49ers. This will be very interesting. If it's a really good Garoppolo, I think maybe I could see the Steelers losing this game easy. I'm going to give it to them because it's the 49ers, and they don't really have anyone to help on offense or on defense. Steelers Bengals. So they're 1-1. Steelers Bengals. They're 2-1. Steelers Bengals. The Bengals are always choked, especially in prime time against the Steelers. Nick, you off camera by the way, in case you want to know. Just making sure you know. Steelers. The Bengals have always played bad against Steelers. I think we've won 6 consecutive games or something like that against the Bengals. So especially since they kept their coach. Steelers, I see them getting a win at home on prime time. Steelers at the Ravens at the Steelers, so they're 3-1 as of right now. As of anyone who's known, Steelers never play well against the Ravens, especially when it's at home. Steelers always lose at home against the Ravens. I don't know why. It's just something that happens. I see the Steelers losing this game. It's a 1:00 game, which is really interesting. But they're going to lose this game, making them 3-2. Then when the Steelers go out west on a Sunday night game, 8:20, Steelers against the Chargers. That will be a rough game for the Steelers, the game that they should have won back in Pittsburgh last year, but the defense gave up. I see the Steelers losing this game, so they're 3-3. Steelers host the Dolphins the next game, Monday night, home. I see the Steelers winning that game. They were able to defeat Fitzmagic last year when he was on the Buccaneers. I see no reason why they can't do it again. Colts at the Steelers again the next week. CBS, 1:00 start time. I see the Steelers winning this game. Steelers have always owned the Colts, whether it's been on Thanksgiving in Indianapolis or at home where Big Ben tosses 5-6 touchdowns. I see the Steelers winning this one. I've lost count. I think we're now 4-3. Rams at the Steelers, 4:25 Sunday. This would be a good game. because it's at home. If it was in LA, it would be a slaughter town. For the Rams, I think the Rams are too good for the Steelers. I see the Rams winning. We're 4-4. First time when the Steelers play the Browns, it's in Cleveland. I see the Steelers winning this game just because we always do well in Cleveland.
And I found it to be a little bit of a terrible scheduling. How is that first game versus the Browns in November, a week before? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's weird the way, because we always start our season with the Browns and probably close to end our season with the Browns. We don't play when we play them 2 times in 3 weeks. Because we play the Browns at home, I see them winning that game. The Steelers at the Bengals, we always beat the Bengals away. We always look better than we do at home. The Steelers are going to win that game pretty easily. And then we host the Browns again. The Browns have never shown us much toughness in Pittsburgh. I see them winning that game. Steelers and the Cardinals. Steelers. Oh Lord, the Steelers always have that one team where we don't play well. We always play down to our competition, and
they always down. It's like the Steelers tradition. They always play down to the
Yep, and I think this will be. It's in Arizona. That's 4:25. I think this is this game that the Steelers will lose to a really bad team, but it could be a good team, depending if the Cardinals draft Kyler Murray, because they were being stupid enough to say that they don't know who they're drafting yet, which is really weird. But we all know they're probably going to be drafting Kyler Murray. So depending on how he plays, I see Steelers losing this game, especially to a rookie quarterback. We always do so bad against rookie quarterbacks. Wentz, and many others that we have faced.
Baker
Mayfield, yeah. Well, we didn't face. We looked good when we faced him, but that was in the mid of the season. I see them losing that game. Bills hosting the Steelers. Sorry, the Steelers hosting the Bills. I don't know. I like the Steelers in this game. Again, this could be a game where the Steelers play down to their competition. But I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Steelers at the Jets. Again, I'm very happy about this game because this is during my Christmas break in New York, so I can go to this game. This is a game where I don't know because it depends. This game all depends on how the Steelers do during the week, but during the season. But this is a very crucial game, depending on how they do. They're going to be facing their old teammate in Le'Veon Bell. Their quarterback hasn't been very good for the past years, except since Mike Sanchez. I'm going to give the Steelers a win here against the Jets in the Meadowlands. Steelers at the Ravens. We've traditionally been pretty good in Baltimore. We've always kept it close and winning a couple times. But I think Baltimore's winning this division. I think they're going to look good, especially with Lamar Jackson in his second full year of the NFL. I'm going to have the Steelers getting swept by the Ravens. And losing that game, which could be pretty detrimental. So they're going to lose 2 to the Ravens and win 2 to the Browns and win 2 to the Bengals. So we're going to lose to the Patriots, Ravens, Chargers, Rams, Cardinals, and potentially maybe even the 49ers. But that's for the Steelers. I don't see them going far or making any noise in the playoffs. Especially now since Kansas City's probably gonna have another good year in New England. They lost a lot of good players with Hogan and Gronk retiring. Hogan getting traded to another team, Gronk retiring. They did get Demaryius Thomas, but it's Brady, so who knows what will happen with him. Nick, let's go through all the weeks quickly.
I don't know if people are gonna want to hear that. Nick can just look that up. I don't know if people are gonna.
All right. Yeah, we don't have to go through that. But it'll be a very interesting season to see how. I'm going to quickly give you guys, if you're a Patriots fan and defending champs, to see what is happening with defending champs. I'm going to quickly give you what the Patriots have on their schedule this year. I'll keep it quick. I won't say who's going to win. They're going to host the Steelers, go to the Jets, go to the Dolphins, host the Jets, go to the Bills, go to the Redskins, host the Giants, go to the Jets, host the Browns, go to the Ravens, go to the Eagles, host the Cowboys, go to the Texans, host the Chiefs, go to the Bengals, host the Patriots, host the Bills, and host the Dolphins. So I can see them losing an early game against the Dolphins because they always do terrible against the Dolphins in Miami. I don't know why. But that's just their schedule. It's not that difficult as I would like, but I mean, that's up to you guys to decide. That's going to wrap it up. We wanted to give you guys a video because we haven't made one in 3 weeks. We do have an Instagram. We put it down in the link below. So be sure to follow that. And the link, the Instagram is where we will post when video times are. we'll post polls and questions for you guys to answer. And that might give us a topic to talk about because we always are searching for topics. We'll try to make a Twitter because we know a lot of sports goes to Twitter. We'll make one as soon as possible, and then
I was just saying I have a big. I don't. It's not a big announcement, but it is somewhat big announcement. So not really Pennsylvania related, but sports related, is that I'm making 2 baseball trips this year, and I would like to make videos at these 4 stadiums, because hey, they're cool stadiums, and one of them is one of the most historic stadiums in baseball. So in July, I'll be at the All-Star game in Cleveland. So I want to try to make a video of that. I'm actually probably gonna be only at the Derby. I probably won't be at the actual game. But I might be at both. I haven't been decided yet. We're going to Cleveland though that same week. We're actually going because of the game and also because of some baseball stuff with my own team. So that's the main reason we're actually going. But then we're also going to go to the Derby and All-Star game while we're there. And then in August, me and my dad just planned a big trip to go to Milwaukee and the 2 Chicago stadiums in late August. Cubs versus Nationals, White Sox versus Rangers, and Brewers versus Diamondbacks. See one game at each of these stadiums. Milwaukee's supposed to be really nice. I'm kind of hoping the roof is not retracted. I'm kind of hoping it's like indoors because when the dome, it's cool, but like the dome is always like that. I would like to see what it's like to see like a retracted roof. And then also guaranteed rate, which has been kind of talked bad about, but I've heard there's some positives there. So yeah, I just want to let you know that because I might try to make some videos and then ship them to Millan, who can then post them on here.
Yep, and then something that mean off the air that you guys probably don't know, the update on me going to Philly, which is most likely going to be happening. I'm going to go probably I think I said the end of June. I'm going to go down to Philly. We'll hang out there. We won't be seeing a Phillies game. We'll probably be attending a Orioles game, which is good for me because that's one more stadium that I can knock off on my bucket list. And we'll try to make videos there, like maybe like a vlog or something that we'll be able to post. And then we'll obviously make a live broadcast. But from now on, we're going to live broadcast here. I don't even know how to post this. Maybe automatically post. I'll see what happens. I'll figure out with that. But that's what's going to happen. But yeah, Instagram, do follow that. It's in the link below. We will post when we're going to be going to podcast. Post all that on the Instagram and maybe even on Twitter. Maybe Nick, if he wants to on the Twitter, he can. And if you guys have ideas, if you have ideas or anything that you want us to talk about, please let us know. Either DM us or like put it in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button. Share it with us because we are a very small channel. Obviously, we'd like to grow. So do share this with everyone. And we will see you guys next time.